Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zemo the Dad in DPS, and we're back with another episode of The Good, The Scrap, and The Scrip, a series where I review weapons in Appalachia and see how well they put holes in freaks. Now, today's, well, outfit and just weapon have a sort of theme-ish type thing going on. Either way, before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. There's our coffee link down below, and the YouTube join button if you'd like to support the channel in a different way. So, let's get on with it. It feels like I'm taking a trip to Japan with this one. It kaiju's the thing it do. Yeah, a mouthful, right? If you don't understand it, well, I'm not going to explain it. Anyway, today's weapon is a vampire's 25 damage while aiming, faster movement speed whilst aiming Radium Rifle. Now this is a gun that I have only ever reviewed a legacy version of it a while back, which I would recommend checking that video if you haven't, because it is a very decent weapon, and this one is no doubt similar. Now, the reason why Radium Rifles don't get used very often in general use is because to get an explosive one, it would have to be a legacy. Therefore, it's just a very slept-on weapon, and it doesn't tend to do as much damage as your fixers and your handmaids. But at the same time, it doesn't make it bad. It's got decent fire rate, decent damage. It's got the added bonus of having the radiation damage, which makes it incredibly effective on humanoid enemies. And from my video that I used on the legacy, super mutants don't really mind the radiation damage either. They take it and die just as easily. So yeah, it is a very slept-on gun, and I'm curious to see how well it does today, and how well it keeps me alive with that vampire effect. So, Radium Rifles. Now, this weapon is generally quite an effective gun on most things. You have a decent fire rate, I say decent clip size, it's got a very average clip size. You also have the radiation damage. Now, against humanoid enemies, typically that means it's going to do a buttload of damage, but we're trying on super mutants just to show you exactly what it can do. As you're seeing, 7 bullets and this big fella's down, and I get them right back from him. And this is me using it in VATS, and the reason I'm pointing that fact out is because this gun has some very specific effects on it. Don't get me wrong, this gun is good in what it's doing right now, but this gun is best aimed down the sights if I'm getting headshots. And as you're seeing, it's taking down these super mutants fairly quickly with very little to no resistance. And if you are really good at aiming down the sights and don't have a potato aim like me, all the better. I unfortunately am not the best at aiming down the sights in this game. I definitely find the gunplay in Fallout 76, or Fallout games in general, to be a little bit lackluster in comparison to other games. There's also the whole problem with hit recognition, like for example if you shoot an enemy and then for some reason they don't seem to take damage, all that kind of thing. There's a lot of problems with the gunplay in this game, and I struggle with this type of weapon. When it's a bigger weapon, or a weapon as little or relatively no recoil, I have a lot more success, but with this particular one I do struggle a little bit, so I would have preferred it to have some VAT stuff on here rather than the 25 damage, all that kind of thing. But as you saw, we completely took a dump on those super mutants. There was very little resistance from them, and this guy has a minigun. And as you're seeing as well, I'm able to basically out DPS the minigun in terms of getting my health back, so I don't need to worry about dying too easily against these guys. Overall, I think quite effective against what should in theory be its hardest enemy. So as you can see guys, the build is just your kind of common garden commando build. There's nothing special about it. It's got all the usual perks in here that would help boost damage. We do have some perks that, like 4-leaf clover, just for extra crits, all these kind of things. That's just because I had a point over. But realistically, it's just a build that's built to emphasize commando guns and damage in general. Now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join link for YouTube members, and the doodad for coffee. Either way, this is all you're getting on the build. I'm not discussing it any longer. So, we are at the antithesis of this weapon, Jeff. In theory, he should completely take a dump on this weapon because it shouldn't be able to do as much damage as others would to him. However, I'm going to VATS him first just to show you what it does with that. And you saw, before he's even up, he's taking a lot of damage. What is he doing? What the hell are you doing, Jeff? Just rising up like a souffle. Right, let's just shoot him. You can see, I don't know why he's slowed. I really don't know what's going on. Either way, let's kill him. He bugged out. Did I like cripple all of his limbs simultaneously and it just made him bug out? But as you're seeing, Jeff's taking decent damage. And this just emphasises my it does better in VATS for some reason thing. It's almost like he's been slowed down to like a fraction of his speed. Just look at him. It's beautiful. Okay, there he goes. Oh well. And his big toe is sticking out. Yeah, weird day. Alright, it's time to give Queenie a radiation enema. Now, unfortunately, because of the nature of this gun, I don't actually have the silencer unlocked, for crafting at least. So, what we're going to have to do is make do by just shooting the crap out of her and hoping for the best. Which is typically the usual thing I do, is just shoot at her and hope for the best. She just bitch slapped me across the screen. Let's run. We'll get out of the ditch and then we'll go from there. Now, as you can see, our legs haven't managed to cripple yet. But that could be because did I have a suppressor equipped? I don't think I did. I probably should have had that equipped. But, as you're seeing, because of the health gain from this weapon, we're actually managing to outbeat her poison for the most part. I've had to do a couple of little things to get my health back, but we're actually, like, typically the poison is the thing that starts killing me the most, and she's not managing to do it here. On top of that, the radiation damage seems to be doing a number on her, and we're killing her quite effectively as far as I'm concerned. I'm not struggling to fight her here, which is just absolutely great. Don't get close enough for her to be able to hit you, she's going to knock you in the next week, mind you. But yeah, this is actually one of the few times where I've fought her and felt relatively confident that she's not going to end my life any second now. Let's just jump down and finish her off with some VATS action. So yeah, definitely kills the queen, and this one's at a disadvantage to some of the other ones. If we had VATS crits on here, this thing would have went down so quick. But that is what it is. Let's move on. Now, as with all of my videos that involve weapons, we are back once again testing out its usability in daily ops. Now, the reason for that is always the same. It's for ammo, let's be honest. I mean, if you can do daily ops with a gun, you are almost certainly, well, do it easily with a certain gun, you are going to get a crap ton of ammo. And this gun is no different. I don't know why I'm doing that. Why are they standing there? So as you're seeing, I'm using that just to show you how this gun and its base damage is able to completely rip them apart. And in my potato aim damage, we're still ripping them apart. Don't get me wrong, if you get crippled, it can create annoying things. It's a freezing day, which is going to end up getting me killed, but let's just fire into this guy's torso to get some health back. There we go. You're seeing we're killing enemies relatively effectively with very minimal effort. I do have to emphasize VATS is my preferred way of using this gun. Now if you look, we're getting all that juicy ammo back, and we're ending up roughly where we started out with these particular enemies here. I'm not really taking the daily ops itself seriously. We're just trying to show you how well the gun does, as is usual with the daily ops. If somebody joins, I'll be a bit more serious, but realistically, what's the point if no one's here? But yeah, I think overall this gun it's a good little gun. It's not a handmade, it's not a fixer, but then what is, there's very few guns that can compete with them in terms of raw damage output, as well as just how effective they are in a multitude of different ways. and I think the Radium Rifle doesn't get enough attention. Its mods are very awkward to get. You need to scrap a lot of Radium Rifles over the course of playing the game in order to get them, and I think that kind of lets it down a little bit, because if people don't have mods for them, they're less likely to go down the route of, you know, bothering, and that is a shame in itself. But it's not detracting from the gun itself. If you get a good one, keep it, use it. I would recommend even selling it. I mean, there are people out there that appreciate these guns, and it can be used in different fire modes. I mean, you can use it as a standard kind of rifle. I mean, it can literally be used as just like a hunting rifle, essentially. So it does have a single fire mode. So there is that as another option as well. You can use it on your... God, I always forget what the single target version of Commando is. But you know what I mean. You can use it on a different build. It's not exclusive to an automatic fire one. I just find that it's far more effective on full auto than it is outside of it. But yeah, it's an interesting weapon. So that was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. There is the join link down below to become a YouTube member, and the coffee link as well. Now, let's thank our YouTube members, which are Golty, Wyatt Blackburn, Wallers, me, Dale Fane Gaming, Colin G, Brian RMC, Peg8 Midnight, Matasbo, Devilman Games, Marcus Carrasco, Scott S, Bubba Doodle Mom, and Ranger Mix Brutal. Big thanks to all of you. Hopefully, you enjoy the content that we're bringing here. And yeah, today's weapon is... it's a funky one. Radium rifles generally are very, very decent and average weapons. They aren't the best, but they're not by far the worst. And I definitely think they're underappreciated. And I hope you guys saw that they are fully capable of doing really well. Unfortunately, the one I had isn't the best example, but that's kind of the point of this series, of just showing you what works and what doesn't. Anywho, I'll catch you all next time in the Wasteland.